Alright, working with samples is an art form. It's because you're taking samples from various sources, different records, different time periods, and you're putting them into one centralized area. It's just a whole lot of external elements that have to be amalgamated in order for you to compose a great piece of music on a sampler. So in this video, we're going to break out the old classic MPC 2000 and build up a beat here that I've made from its individual elements, and I'll describe how and why I chose the samples based on my preference. Alright, so we're starting again with the main theme. Notice it's not a beat, it's just an atmospheric sample. And this establishes the framework, it gives you the context, it gives you the environment that we're going to build this beat up on. This is the foundation that's going to give rise to everything we do. And it also establishes a mood, sort of the vibe that I want to put forth. So second is a guitar sample. And really what this does is establishes the pulse of the beat. And it gives you definitely the rhythmic tempo that's going on. So before we didn't have any tempo, now we got establishing reoccurring pulse meter that lets you know what's to come. And there's also an element of bass in this sample that gives you more weight to the original theme, and it just so happens to be in harmony musically with the main theme. So now going forward, we have a vocal sample. This vocal element adds an emotional value, builds everything up, and it makes it more human. And it helps if you're trying to humanize a beat, using a vocal element from an actual human works. And in my experience, the best humans to use are female when you're speaking about using vocals for this purpose. Alright, moving along. Now there's a second vocal, and this vocal establishes a harmonic balance between the previous female vocalist that we just had. It also adds a rhythmic element to what's going on in the form of a polyrhythm. There's these sympathetic percussion things going along inside the sample that is only on time because it's reoccurring at a definite time. Here's the other sample coming in now. It's another vocal sample, and this drives home the main theme, because you may have noticed the main theme is kind of lost in the background. You can't really hear it anymore. This brings everything up to the forefront and gives you that force, and it's also pitched an octave higher than the main theme. And this by default brings a heightened emotional element to the beat, if you know what I mean. Hopefully you do. Anyway, lastly, we got the drums. And with the drums, it's all bounce and vibe. That's all these drums do. The kick isn't necessarily forceful. The snare and the hi-hat are just moving along. There's nothing really boom bap about this beat because everything previous to the beat is kind of mellow. So we have to suit that in order to bring out the best in everything. I could have just brought in a hard boom bap beat and just overpower everything, and that has its place. But in this beat, I really want to support the main theme and make sure that it doesn't get lost and make sure that it's complemented in the best way. And that's what these drums are doing. As you can see, as we solo out everything else and go back to the main theme with just the drums, you see how it plays together. Completely complementary, suited up really well, and I was really happy with the outcome of that. Speaking of the drums, let's go back to that though and break everything down. So let's look at the kick. It's kind of lost on its own. It's off and it's on. Rhythmically, it's just bouncing around doing its own thing. If you were to hear the kick alone, it just sounds messed up. And it is intentional because I wanted an off and on feel to the kick because I didn't want it to overpower. Kicks are just too powerful that how you place them really matters. So incoming the snare, that's what the snare does. The snare is like, nope, I'm here to bring structure to all this. So it's just always on beat, rigid, stiff, not moving, just there as a complete stabilizer. And right now you know that everything is on rhythm, and it makes the kick pattern seem logical now. But as you can hear, everything's still kind of stiff, even the kick's stiff, right? So in comes the hi-hat, and the hi-hat blends the two, and that establishes the real vibe and bounce of everything. It just blends everything together and smooths everything out. And really that's what a hi-hat's supposed to do. It really gives you the sense of motion. It makes sure that the beat keeps on moving forward. You stop the hi-hat, you stop the motion. It's really enjoyable to use samples because it really teaches you how to be diplomatic and fair about each sample. You really have to think twice about why a sample is there, what is it doing, how does it feel in the entire song. It's crazy. And also the unexpected treats that you get just from the things that samples do. They're just kind of weird on their own. They just have their own personality and their own thing, and they do what they want to do. No matter how much you try to control them, you're always going to be surprised working with samples. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked and learned something, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can get current on all sampler technology and education, and take yourself on down to the Daydream sound. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Peace.